Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be reviewing the brand new Kizer Original 2. I've been a fan of the Kizer Originals since day one with the button lock. However, I'm not the biggest button lock fan. I always wish they had done a different lock because it's just a nice classic design. Then they dropped the XL and I absolutely love the XL, especially the micarta variant. I still carry that one quite a bit. This one is a frag tie. The XL is more of just a normal size knife. It's not a huge knife by any means. They did one in the middle between the XL and the first original that dropped. And I'm really hoping to see a XL Kizer Original 2. That would be fantastic. You can also see that they changed up the blade shape. This is their drop point now. This one has just a standard drop point. This one's like a modified drop point. You got the same belly though, and you got a little bit longer of a blade. Not a huge difference. We'll talk about some other changes they made between the first original and the original 2. There are 3 different blade shapes you can choose from with the original 2. You have the sheep's foot right here, and this is the premium variant of the sheep's foot. There is a more affordable option than this one. They have the drop point. This right here is a little bit more affordable version of the knife. And they also have a Tonto, but they didn't send me one of those, so I didn't have one to show y'all, so sorry about that. I tried to pick up one, but I didn't have enough time for the video. I did my testing on the sheep's foot, so this is the one we're going to mainly focus on. We'll bring this back a little bit later. In typical Kizer fashion, there's all kinds of different variants. Like I said, this is a premium one. The aluminum versions, there's a micarta variant of this one with 14C. That's about half the price. And the Tonto variants has a premium and an affordable option. And I think the same with the drop point. So the original 2 is coming in at 7.3 inches overall. It now has a 3.19 inch blade. Pretty big difference between the first original. As you can see, there's absolutely no jimping on these. Well, now you have a functional small row of jimping there. That's nice and grippy. And plus you have some of the scales. And then my favorite is this jimping right here. So if you're doing that index finger drag cut, you can put a lot more force there without having to worry about sliding off the spine. The blade steel on this one is S45VN. I love Kizer's S45. All the S45 I've tested from them has performed great. It's got good corrosion resistance, and not to mention you have this DLC coating, so you're not gonna have to worry about the corrosion at all in that one. This is going to be a very versatile blade shape because you have that very low tip, so it's easy to maneuver that tip to do the very intricate cuts. In-hand cuts is going to be very easy as well because you got a very gradual belly up to that tip, so you're not going to slide out of your cuts very easy or anything. And being that you do have some belly, cutting on a flat cutting surface is going to be good as well. You can get about a little bit over half the blade onto a flat cutting surface before you contact the scales at all. And we'll check all that out in just a minute. You have dual thumb studs that stay out of the cutting path. And once I completed the testing, I sharpened this one up immediately because anytime I like a knife, I sharpen it because I plan on carrying it and using it more. The sharpening choil on this one is good. Your plunge grind is coming down right here. So you're going to have all that sharpening life before you have to worry about it. Now, you do need to be careful how much pressure you put there because you will start to flare if you put too much pressure at the back. But you should have a good bit of sharpening life. You shouldn't have to worry about it. And as you can see, you don't have to worry about any crazy stop pin placement because the crossbar is actually the stop pin there. So if you need to expand that some, you could. You got fairly thin blade stock on this one at 0.11 inches. And it has a nice hollow grind, which is also a difference between the first original, which has a flat grind, and this one now has a hollow grind, and it comes down to around 20 thousandths behind the edge. So as long as it's sharp, it should slice great, and we're going to find out. I was really excited to get some testing done on this one because I love when Kizer puts their hollow grinds on the knives. So I knew this one would probably slice really well, and I wanted to try out the new blade shape for the original, and I gotta say I love it. You know, I like all the blade shapes. I'm not even a Tonto fan, and I like that one. I really hope we see them do the XL version of this one. That's going to be awesome. I'm sure they probably will. And I haven't really nailed down which blade shape I like most. You know, they all have their trade-offs. And yeah, so far I'm loving this particular blade shape. Now we're going to test those ergos. I am choked up. It's not the biggest forward choil, but you know, I can get it there without worrying about hitting that edge or anything. Able to get a lot of force into the wood, and for the most part it's comfortable. No severe hot spots or anything. They did a great job of softening the edges of the scales, and that allowed me to get a lot of pressure in without being uncomfortable. So excellent job there. I did lift it up on the block, and I don't think I really had to, but it's just easier for me. You know, you can get about a little bit over half the edge on a flat cutting surface before you contact the scales, so it could definitely be done. But for me, if it's easier for me to lift it up on the block, if it's going to help me not get blisters, then that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, nice and slicey. Factory edge, pretty good. You know, I usually, as soon as I'm done with the testing, I usually sharpen them up because I like them. Anytime I like them, I usually sharpen them because I continue to carry them and use them. I love the fact that it's got the DLC coating because I know I don't have to worry about any kind of scratches, and it doesn't cause that much drag. It does cause a little. I can't lie about that. It's not super noticeable, but it's definitely a minute amount of drag just through the dense materials, not through the sisal rope. It's going to really excel at doing these detailed cuts like this, like I always say, because you got that low tip and it's easy to manipulate it. I can get a lot of pressure down if I put my index finger down toward that tip. And look, I'm showing you here that I can do all this cutting on a flat surface without any problems. So the versatility on this one is up there. It passed through all the material nicely. It held its edge great. I love Kizer's S45, and I think they do a great job with it. What do y'all think? I expected it to be a good slicer. Not only was it a good slicer, check that DLC out. You can't even tell I used it. Whenever I finished the testing and I did the sharpening, it sharpened up nicely. Talk about got sticky sharp. Now let's talk about the deployment action on this one. So like I said earlier, you have dual thumb studs. I find them to be comfortable. The thumb flick works great. You can reverse flick very easily as well. You can slow roll it. You can also use that crossbar lock to deploy it. Very smooth action, riding on cage ceramic bearings, and your detents being created by the tension on the crossbar lock. This is considered their clutch lock. It's an adjustable crossbar lock. You have, let's see how many they have on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like we have 5 tension settings. Hopefully y'all can see that right there. Those 5 holes, if you've not seen that before, which you can increase or decrease the tension on your Omega springs. Now let's take a look at the scales. So this version has a stone washed tie frame that has some beautiful softening on the edges to make it really comfortable. You have Torx T8 hardware everywhere except for your pocket clip, which is Torx T6. As you see there, you have a filler tab, so that clip is reversible. And they went with just a bent tie clip. They did inset it into the frame, so that's nice. And it does function well, and it buries pretty far. All you see is the top portion sticking out, and there's no flipper tab or anything, and it's fairly streamlined, so it doesn't take up a whole bunch of room. Stays up against the side of the pants pocket like that. Carries well. Now, one thing I noticed right away when I got this is it was a little bit heftier than I expected it to be. And that's because even though they skeletonized it, they went with full stainless steel liners that they're inset, but I don't really get that. I know they probably do that for the clutch lock, but I think it would have been just as tough if you could have made your stainless steel liners stop right here just to house the clutch lock. And that way it would have balanced the knife out a little bit better, because even though this thing's still nice and lightweight at 3.38 ounces, the balance point is way back here, and you definitely feel that. Now, it's not terrible. I still love the knife, but I think it would have been even better if they would have made the liners partial, especially being that you have these thick slabs of tie. Now, if you're worried about the weight, this particular aluminum version with the drop point blade comes in at 2.85 ounces. Absolute featherweight. Balance point is still going to be back though, but it doesn't feel as butt heavy as the tie version. Now, 3.38 ounces, it carries very well. I hardly notice those things in the pocket. So as far as carry goes, outstanding. I just think it would have felt way more agile in hand if it would have been balanced a little bit better. My medium-sized hands, I can choke back like this and get an easy 4-finger grip. I have a little bit left over right there. This reverse pull grip is nice and comfortable. I can get a lot of force in that direction. And then the reverse gas station knife fight grip choke back is comfortable as well because this is rounded over, but you don't have a whole lot of room there. I got enough. One thing I do wish is that they could have extended this forward choil a little bit. They definitely intended this to be a full forward finger choil, but if I come all the way up there and I don't have fat fingers or anything, I'm right up on that edge. Now, what I do is whenever I'm coming this way, I kind of put my finger on top of that. So I'm back just a little bit. It's still comfortable and it kind of negates that issue. But, you know, if you're going to put a forward finger choil, I think they could have come out a little bit more to have given us a little bit more sharpening life. Still definitely not a deal breaker. Like I said, I managed to get around that. That's another key difference between the first original and the original 2. You had this flat portion to choke up on, but whenever I'm choked back, I barely could get 4 fingers on it. You got more handle room here and here. And the rounding right here of this choil area is more comfortable than the flat spot, at least in my opinion. But you got about the same amount of area. Now the lockup on this one, especially being that you have the stainless steel full liners and the tie, this thing is an absolute tank. I mean, no movement in any direction whatsoever. Fantastic, especially for this size knife. And to me, that's a huge upgrade over the button lock. I just don't trust button locks all that much. Even though I haven't had any failures on this one, I haven't been using it super hard. This one I just feel like I could use way harder. I spine whacked this one, no issues. I have spine whacked one of the button locks and it failed on me, but it was a pretty hard spine whack. So, just depends on which type of knife you're looking for and what type of usage you're putting them through. I think this is going to be a lot more sturdy. Now for some quick size comparisons. Here's a good shot of it with the Kizer XL original and the Kizer original. It's in the middle of those two. And it's in the middle of the Ontario Wrap 1 and 2. Also in the middle of the Kizer Militaw and the Kizer Drop Bear. I would say more similar to the Drop Bear. And it's just about identical in length to the Kizer Hiccup. And it's just a hair longer than the Kizer Task. And lastly, it's a little shorter than the Kizer Veritas, and it's a hair longer than the Kizer Comorin. Being that absolutely no knife's perfect, what are my nitpicks and complaints? For me, I would really say only the balance here. The balance, I wish it was a little bit better. It's not terrible. As you can see, it's right at the back of that choil area. It would have been awesome if it would have been right there. It's just a little bit butt heavy, and it just feels, you know, it's not as agile as I want it to be. Now, like I said earlier, this aluminum version, even though it's still not perfect, to me this one feels a lot more agile in hand. It's not as butt heavy as the tie version, and the micarta variant might be even better than that. It's just a minor one, definitely not a deal breaker for me at least. And the last is another very minor nitpick. I think it would have looked a lot nicer on this one if they would have used a milled tie clip. However, this one functions really well. The price on this one, in my opinion, is very reasonable, being that you have this hollow ground DLC coated S45 VN blade, thick tie slabs, tie pocket clip, that great clutch lock action, great performer, and it was comfortable. This premium version comes in at $160. You can also get it in this blade shape in 14C with micarta scales. That'll only run you $70. This version with the drop point and aluminum scales comes in at $80. They also have the Halloween edition versions. I don't know if they're still available or not. And of course, any of these knives that are available, I will have them linked down below in the description if you're interested. can also get it in a Tonto. They have an aluminum Tonto with 14C. That's $80. And I don't know if they have a premium Tonto one or not. If they do, I'm sure I'll probably pop it up on the screen. And they also have a premium version of this drop point with tie scales, satin S45 VN blade, and that one's gonna be $10 cheaper, being that it doesn't have the DLC at $150. So I think it's a great price. Personally, if you're looking for a solid EDC knife, whether you want to have the more budget-friendly versions, I think you'll be happy. I personally like all the changes from the 1 and 2. I much prefer the crossbar lock over a button lock. It's just a safer lock in my opinion, if the geometry is done right on them. They've nailed down the clutch lock in my opinion. I've never had one fail on me. I've spine whacked them. I've done some abuse testing with them. If that ever changes, I will definitely let y'all know. Yeah, that's the new Kizer Original 2. I'd love to hear y'all thoughts. Do you like it? Do you own one? What do you think about it? Do you plan on getting one? The most affordable variants of this, I'm pretty sure it's a drop point. Maybe they have this version as well, but they do have a D2 variant. That's going to be the cheapest of all. So yeah, let me know y'all thoughts on this one. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave those down below and I'll do my best to get back with you. I hope every single one of y'all is having a remarkable day today. And remember, keep these blades sharp. Smile more. Whee!